Perception means everything in the video game world. Obviously, the perception of PlayStation is they have amazing single player first party games. And so that really helps them in bad and dire times. Like even now, obviously PlayStation is going through sort of a flux situation, but nobody thinks it's the end of PlayStation or anything like that. And even the gamers who are, very finicky and cynical as it is, sort of just go with the flow because they know that at some point PlayStation's going to come through for them. So yeah, that's sort of like how it's going to end up being for them. Now, when it comes to Xbox, what is Xbox known for? Well, Xbox is known for, unfortunately, some bad things. Sort of being wishy-washy, neither here nor there, non-committal, known for lying as well. It's really sort of an unfortunate turn of events because obviously Xbox has had great games and great consoles and great ideas, but they just really poorly execute those ideas for fans, and it's unfortunate to say the least. But at the same time, there's always some kind of hope. At least that's my way of looking at things. But when you have more negative perceptions here, like this, and I just want to be honest, this looks bad for Xbox. It's hard to really pull yourself out of this pit. So we know that the Xbox Series S is sort of the little kid console to the Xbox Series X, and a lot of people hate it. A lot of people look to the Xbox Series S and think it's a terrible console, and why should people like it, and blah blah blah, it's ruining gaming. And there's this game that came out recently, one of my favorite indie games. Like, this is the game that sort of put indie games on the map for me personally, which is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And so they did a remake of this game. Although it's weird because I didn't think the game looked bad to begin with, and it already had a remaster on the Xbox One and PS4. So this is a little bit strange. Anyway, A Tale of Two Sons remake drops as low as 454p on Xbox Series S. Think about that. That's below standard resolution. Yeah, that's not good for perception. A detailed analysis by Digital Foundry notes that the game's dynamic resolution has the ability to drop much lower than each console is capable of, with no versions ever hitting their maximum resolution. Like many games, the Brothers Remake's quality mode, which locks the frame rate to 30 frames per second to increase visual detail, makes use of dynamic resolution, which allows the game to drop its resolution in particularly busy scenes to keep it running smoothly. However, Digital Foundry's analysis finds that Xbox Series X and PS5 versions have a dynamic resolution and quality mode that ranges between highs of 1620p and lows of 1260p, much notably lower than native 4K resolution, which would be 2160p, that both systems should be able to achieve. 4K may be the target here, but it's rarely if ever seen, according to Digital Foundry. Meanwhile, the Xbox Series S version has a resolution that ranges between 454p and 720p, meaning at times it can actually render lower than standard definition, though they note in quality mode it does tend to rest at the upper end of 720p. The game also has performance mode, which, as in other games, attempts to increase frame rate, usually up to 60 frames per second, at the expense of resolution. However, in this mode, the Xbox Series X and PS5 versions typically render at 1080p, but despite the focus on frame rate, neither console hits 60 frames, except for one section, which takes place in a dungeon. They also note that in the game's first town area, neither Xbox Series X nor PS5 get close to hitting 60 frames, but the Series X has at least a consistent frame rate lead at every point. Now, the Xbox Series S version, meanwhile, maintains its same range of 454p to 720p, but this time it trends towards the lower end of the scale and even lower frame rates than the other consoles, but it still hits 60 frames in the dungeons. Ultimately, they recommend the player choose quality mode for the higher resolutions because the game's slow pace means drops to 30 doesn't make a huge difference in gameplay. The original Brothers was released in 2013. It was written and directed by filmmaker Joseph Fares in what was his first game in collaboration with Starbreeze, who would later go on and found It Takes Two studio Hazelight. The remake has been rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 with every element painstakingly rebuilt from the ground up for the most immersive story possible. So again, listen, I love the game. It's a fantastic game. It's honestly such a great game, such a great story, moving, all that kind of stuff. But how do you take a 360 game and put it on Unreal Engine 5, which is, not a terrible engine to optimize, and you kind of screw it up like this? I don't know. Like, it's not a good look for Xbox. I'm not saying that the PlayStation version is all that, because clearly it's not either. But in particular, when one of your next gen consoles is rendering below an actual standard def resolution, I think that's a bit of a perception problem for Microsoft that they're going to have to deal with. Like, I don't know where they go from here. I don't know how many more years are left in this generation. I don't know exactly what the plans are for next generation. There's rumors that they might do a handheld or whatever. Maybe they do that. So again, it's just one of those weird situations that we kind of find ourselves in. Hopefully we see Microsoft do something. I don't know. Like, I would like to see, how they can kind of handle the future with their platform, and the reason is, maybe some people don't really care about resolution, and I get those people, right? Like, I completely get that. There's people that don't care about resolution. Fine, they don't care about frame rate. That's fine. Listen, I have like retro nights in my house, man. I'll play original Xbox games. I'll play, Dreamcast. I'll play Xbox. I play 360 games all the time still, even PS3 games, right? Man, there's some bangers on that. But it's like, like for me, that's just like how I am, and there's some people like me, of course. At the same time, obviously there's people that do care about that stuff. And when you're paying, $500-$600 for a console, and you're getting poor optimization, I think that can be a bit of a problem from time to time anyway. So, that's just kind of my opinion on it. It's like it's a perception issue, but we'll see what happens in the future. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys have an Xbox Series S? Listen, every kid in my house has an Xbox Series S. Not saying it's a kiddie console, but the kids, it was like one of those things where the two older ones, growing up for me, I never got a console when it released, right? It was always years later. We just didn't have a lot of money. For them, I thought it'd be a cool gift. I got them Series S's the year that they released for Christmas. So they enjoyed that. And the same thing with like and the reason why is they got to pick the kind of TVs that they wanted. They could either get like smaller 4K TVs, or they could get bigger 1080p TVs. They went for bigger 1080p TVs. It is what it is, right? Like, kids, there's a group of people that just literally do not care about resolution or frame rates and things like that. So, we do have that to kind of consider. I don't know. What do you guys think, though? I have a Series S, too. I think it's a great little console, but I would never play it over a Series X, obviously. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.